Come back to the Chrissy B Show, and I'm now joined by Clive de Carle, a health and longevity researcher and educator, and he's going to be showing us how you can actually live longer and be much healthier just by eating some very basic things, would you say, Clive?
Yes,
but
indeed.
Some very, very effective ones.
Exactly.
So you've brought along quite a few things here that you're going to talk to us about and actually tell us the benefits of each thing for our health as well.
Well, that's right. It's, first of all, important to understand that living to a healthy old age is one thing, but you want to be fit and well to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So there are various elements I think one needs to look at. Firstly, as we were discussing earlier, the brain. Mm-hmm. Now, the brain's made primarily of water and cholesterol. So as many people are, if they're dehydrated, they're not getting full access to their brain. Mm-hmm. And if they're eating a low cholesterol diet, their brain is full of holes.
Oh. Doesn't sound very good.
Well, that's really what Alzheimer's is about. Uh-huh. You know, 50 years ago, Alzheimer's was not described by doctors. You know, they've always written up medical cases, but Alzheimer's only occurred when low fat was suggested. That it was suggested that animal fats were bad and margarine and refined oils were good. For you? Well, put it this way, people used to believe that the Mediterranean diet, people cooked in olive oil, but that's not true. What the Mediterranean diet, they used to cook in duck fat, in chicken fat, in pork fat, and put on olive oil afterwards.
Oh, yes, well, I can relate to that because my family's Greek, so a lot of pork and things like that as well that they eat.
Yes. And the immune system, 80% of the immune system happens in the gut. But if we have antibiotics, for example, if we drink chlorinated water, the bacteria and the yeasts, which are in a natural symbiotic relationship in our gut, and it's them that actually do the digestion into a large degree, if you have doctors' drugs, they tend to wipe out this natural flora of the gut. Now, our ancestors would eat fermented vegetables, and fermented vegetables can recolonize the gut with the bacteria and friendly yeasts that we need so that our digestion can work properly. And in every culture around the world, they used to ferment vegetables. And it's incredibly easy to do. All you have to do is chop up vegetables and hold them under salted water, and they'll ferment. And people think that, let's say, to ferment a vegetable, let's say you wanted a pickled onion, people think that you need to pour vinegar on, but you don't. What you do is you take some onions and some salt water, hold the onions underneath the salt water, and in about a week, that water and the juice from the onion will have become vinegar as the fermentation process takes place. After a couple of weeks, the onions will taste delicious.
And is this cabbage in here?
This is red cabbage, beetroot, celery, carrot, onion, garlic, chilli, all sorts of things. Yeah, well, it is a complete salad. And you just chop it up small, ram it into a glass jar like this with some salt, just salt to taste, and within about 5 days it'll taste delicious and pickly and super fresh, and you can try some later. Okay. Another way to get fermented food is this. This is kefir, and these are grains. They're sort of translucent, soft grains of bacteria and yeast. And these would have been passed down from generation to generation for thousands of years. Kefir is actually a Turkish word which means feel good. And it's a fermented drink. This is about 2 days old. If you want to try it, it's very mild.
Cheers.
Cheers. And it is a probiotic drink.
It tastes like water, just a little bit of flavoured water.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yes, essentially.
Pleasant, yeah. And what's that good for?
Again, fixing the immune system, making the gut work properly.
Okay.
And health is all about a healthy immune system. Now, talking about the brain, it's worth understanding that we need to eat the healthy fats. So one of the best fats to eat is coconut oil. And
I read that somewhere, yeah.
Well, it's amazing.
Good, yeah.
There is a YouTube video of Dr. Mary Newport and her husband. They say to her husband, who has Alzheimer's, draw a clock. He tries, but you wouldn't recognise it as a clock. 2 weeks, they give him 6 tablespoonfuls of coconut oil every day for 2 weeks. He comes back into the studio, they say, draw a clock, and there it is, a clock, and you can recognise it with the numbers. Then 1 year later, he's back in the studio again, And the interview with him goes something like this. He says, "Oh, it was terrible when I had Alzheimer's. It was awful. But since I've been eating the saturated fats, putting the cholesterol back, I've got my brain back." Now, one of the other things that people need to understand is one of the simplest and cheapest medicines around, which is iodine. Iodine boosts brain function. If a woman is pregnant and they're low on iodine, they can give birth to a child with a low IQ. If they're very low on iodine, there's a medical term for it, it's called cretinism, and the child is born a cretin. Now, many people that I've given iodine to report back that the brain fog has lifted. Suddenly they've got access to full cognition. Suddenly they're thinking clearly. Not only that, but it solves very often the thyroid epidemic that is sweeping the world. There's an issue about the thyroid. The thyroid needs iodine to function. But if we're drinking chlorinated water or bathing in chlorinated water or taking in fluoride, those halogens, chlorine and fluoride, have a smaller molecular size than iodine, and they take the place in the hormonal system where the iodine should be, and the body makes fake hormones, and hence there's a thyroid epidemic. It's important to understand that we should, if we want to achieve a healthy old age, we should be filtering the chlorine out of our drinking water and filtering it from our bathing water.
Right. And with something like this, you would just take a couple of drops?
A couple of drops in water. This is Lugol's iodine. Would be considered by many health professionals as a good, healthy dose to keep the.
And what are these strange-looking things here?
Right. Now, if you wanted the finest cancer cure in the world, probably broccoli would be it. And these are sprouted broccoli seeds. This one's sprouted alfalfa. Now, I'm occasionally presented with people who are, say, 100 years old, and I would like to say to them, look, if you want to be healthy, you need a big salad bowl. And they say, well, I can't possibly do that. So let's say you sprout your salad, like the broccoli seeds here. If you juiced this, put it in a juicer and juiced it, you'd have a small glass like this of concentrated superfoods.
Right.
And if I had somebody I wanted to get well, who was desperately ill, I would be sprouting seeds and juicing them, because a seed is the whole year's latent power from the plant that's gone into that seed. The moment you add water to it, the vitamin content, the content of the amino acids, the minerals are increased incredibly. So this may be 20 times, 100 times, possibly 500 times more nutrient dense than an adult broccoli plant.
Really? Gosh.
You're getting it at its maximum power. So you can have a salad full of different sprouted vegetables. You can sprout any vegetable you like and eat your salad in sprout form.
Super healthy. Wow.
Super healthy.
And you were showing me some chocolate earlier. Was it this one?
This one is chocolate. These are...
I thought they were almonds. That's how much I know.
So
Can you see?
these are cocoa beans. And the cocoa tree, I don't know, we might have a picture we can show of a cocoa tree. Chocolate is remarkably healthy.
There you go.
Yeah, so you can see the big chocolate
Contrary
pods.
to popular belief. See, girls, we can eat chocolate, but is that the milk chocolate or the plain one, as people say we should?
You want it as dark as possible.
Yeah.
But there is processed chocolate and there's unprocessed chocolate. So this is the raw bean, or it's actually a nut, the seed of the chocolate pod. And if you eat raw chocolate, you only need an ounce. And it's one of the most complex and complete foods known to man. And you have more or less every mineral, every vitamin within chocolate. It really is a superfood, one of the top 10 superfoods in the world.
That's good news for us.
It really is. But you do need to eat the dark stuff or the raw stuff.
This one I know because I make soup with this. Goji berry soup. I saw it on TV once. It was a Chinese, I think for colds and flu. They said this was really good to put in with chicken soup.
Again, it's one of the top 10 superfoods on the planet, and there's a seed in each one of several seeds in each one of these, and the goji plant is frost-proof, so you can actually grow them in this climate, and they probably have the highest mineral and vitamin content of almost any berry. Brilliant for eyesight, because one of the things you want to do when you do get old is you want to keep all your faculties. You certainly want to keep your eyesight, so you want to be eating the berries for eyesight.
How much would you need to eat of that a day, say, to be effective?
Well, I would say it would be nice to eat maybe a tablespoonful a day.
That's
but
all,
if you get a good organic goji berry, it's so delicious, you might want to eat more than that. Other very, very important foods to understand, one of them is salt. And you might want to try just one teeny little bit of salt. There's a big difference between this salt and the sea salt you get in the supermarket. The sea salt we get in supermarkets is dry, and they achieve that dryness by removing the magnesium and several other of the minerals. And this has unbalanced the salt. So the type of salt the doctors used to warn us about was sodium chloride, table salt, highly refined and dangerous. But most of us believe that sea salt, that like you get in the supermarket, is safe and good for us. But in actual fact, it's a highly processed food. This is pure dried ocean, in this case dried Atlantic. And they dry it out in the salt flats with the sun and the wind doing the drying. And as you notice, it's wet, wet and a bit grey, and the wet is the magnesium. And we could dry this out in the oven, bring it out here again, within 15, 20 minutes it would be wet again because magnesium attracts water. Now, if you want to be well and live long, you need magnesium. Magnesium, I believe, is the most important mineral of the lot. And anybody out there who has twitches or muscle cramps should know that they're low on magnesium. Now, so anybody who has muscle cramps, and probably about 50% of your audience may get muscle cramps, should know that a heart attack is a muscle cramp of the heart. So if you're low on magnesium and getting muscle cramps, it's a warning that you may be the person who's going to get a stroke or a heart attack.
Now, Clive, we've got about a minute left, but I'm interested to know about because you had arthritis and you actually are free from that now, you're cured from that. Can you briefly tell our viewers how that happened?
Well, yes. I became so arthritic that I could no longer lift something as heavy as this. They put me into hospital for 3 weeks and they told me that I would probably be crippled for life and they could inject drugs into me for the rest of my life, but it would just get worse. I didn't like that idea at all. I checked myself out and I found a specialist who explained to me that actually I was low on minerals and vitamins, that I was deficient in enzymes. And I started correcting my diet and taking a lot of supplements. And within 1 year from being completely unable to walk, I recovered completely. All the knobbly bits went away. And at the same time, my father's best friend recovered from cancer by taking vitamin C in very, very high doses. And he lived on for 25 years and died of something else that wasn't cancer. So I had a double experience of realizing you can cure yourself of pretty much anything by natural means.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Clive, are these quite easy to find? Is there any way that our viewers can visit for them to get these things if they want?
I sell all these things on my website, which is called ancientpurity.com. And we also sell devices, like this is a colloidal silver generator. And if you had to take an antibiotic, I wouldn't want to take a chemical antibiotic, I'd want a natural one. And silver is a natural antibiotic. It's been used for thousands and thousands of years. Alexander the Great knew all about it.
Okay then, well, we have run out of time, unfortunately. But if you do want more information about these things here, they do visit Clive's website as well. And I know there was a few things that we didn't get to talk about, but maybe next time you come along, we can talk about it as well. Thank you so much. So if you do want more information, you can visit chrissybishow.tv as well. And if you have any questions about anything as well, you can email me on chris@chrissybishow.tv. We'll be back after the break with someone that's going to be teaching us about how you can look younger for longer. Join us after this break.